What's up, Internet peoples? This is Zachamus Prime, aka Zachamus Prime, here with another Transformers third-party review. Today we're going to be reviewing some more of these little Iron Factory legends that I like so much. We've got the Iron Factory War Giant Attackers, Armor Boar, and Bazooka Hound. Jeez, those show up a lot smaller on the screen than I wanted them to. Let's move in a bit. So here they are. This is Iron Factory's take on the Combaticons, and they are really nice little figures. I'm going to start with Armor Boar. Armor Boar is clearly not Brawl. He has nothing to do with Brawl, and you'd be, completely wrong if you thought that this might have been Brawl. But he is a kind of a green guy with a purple midsection and black parts, and he does have a cool little rectangular head, and he does do some other things like you might suspect from a character named Brawl, but this is not Brawl, keep in mind. But yeah, I mean, he's got, so the Iron Factory figures all have the kind of aesthetic of the in IDW figures. I haven't really taken a close look. I haven't read those comics in a long time. Yeah, it's been a while since I've read them. So I'm not sure offhand exactly how well he matches up to the aesthetic in the comic. Judging off of some of the other Iron Factory stuff that I have looked at, it's probably fairly close. But yeah, he's got that real trademark Iron Factory kind of chunk to him. And yet he's not terribly kibbly. I mean, he's got stuff sticking out. If this was a large figure, I think it would be more of a mess. But for a small figure, I think it looks pretty good. It gives him, a little distinctive stature. Like in a little figure, it looks, I don't know. I think that Brawl has always been kind of has been kind of a heavy set looking bot anyhow. So I mean, I think that fits really well with him. But he's molded primarily in this green plastic here. This is like a gunmetal paint app here. Black plastic for the head. Really good face sculpt, actually. Let's see if I can get the lighting in there a little bit. Looks really nice. Kind of hard to see with all of his shoulders being up in the way and whatnot. Purple in the midsection, some silver paint apps, black for the thighs, green. It's colored primarily with plastic colors instead of paint apps, which I think is pretty good because that makes it so that you're less likely to like chip paint or scratch stuff like whatnot. Also, depending on what figure you got this from, like you might. For some companies, you might expect them to like paint like the little details like this, like the little insets like this, and it's nice that they didn't because, at this scale, you'd probably just be asking for trouble with masking errors and whatnot, and also it would increase the cost of the figure. And one of the things that I like about these little Legends figures is that they're fairly inexpensive for their size. They're fairly inexpensive compared to other third-party figures. Like, granted, yeah, you're going to be paying like what, $40 for a set of two, so 20 for one. But I mean, when you factor in that a Hasbro Legends is more than $10 on its own, then this is like you're really only doubling for the third party, and it's quite a premium figure. Definitely blows away Hasbro Legends in a lot of ways. So in terms of posability, he's got a ball joint up here at the shoulder, which allows for free range of motion out there, including outwards motion. He's got a bicep swivel here. Let's take his gun off for a second. He has basically a single joint here that allows for a little more than 90 degrees bend. He has a wrist swivel. One of the things that I like about these Iron Factor figures, most of them, if not all of them, all the ones that I've had so far. No, most of the ones that I've had so far have got wrist swivels on, which is a nice touch. Waist rotation here. Hips are on ball joints, so it goes forward that much, backwards that much. Full Van Damme. His knee is kind of single jointed, like you can move it here, but it's on a transformation armature, which you can turn into a double bend easily without, making it look too weird or whatnot. He has ball jointed ankles, which don't really rock that much, but allow for a fair amount of forward and back. I'm not entirely certain. I think maybe this is supposed to be the front right there. Yeah, with the paint app showing. But good little figure. He for accessories, he comes with 2 of these guns here. And these guns have got 2 handles on them, but there's really no way for him to hold it two-handed. But they do kind of look like one of those, like a machine pistol or whatnot. Where you could like hold it double-handedly, like hold one with 2 hands. But like, Halo and whatnot, you so often see them just two-handed it. Akimbo style. But yeah, he's a good little figure. Let's compare him briefly with his buddy Bazooka Hound. Bazooka Hound clearly is not anything like Swindle. He just happens to look a lot like Swindle. And he, again, has got that little, kind of a chunky style to him. He's got this big old piece of stuff hanging off of the back. Transformation of this guy is actually quite similar to the Fans Project, the Fans Project version. So there's that, I suppose. But for this guy, he's got, his head's not quite as rectangular as the other guy, but I'll let it slide. Again, real good. Oh, come on, focus. There we go. Real good head sculpt there. You see him with that smirk that you so often see Swindle with. But nice little figure, really poseable. Really like action oriented. Like this puts the action. These guys put the action in action figure. But for this guy, he's got a ball jointed shoulder that's on a double hinge, so it can come out. I mean, more than all the way until it starts bumping his head. No bicep swivel, but he does have like a pseudo double jointed elbow, and the lower joint is a ball joint, so that'll allow for that rotation. Wrist rotation, again, really nice. Waist rotation, also nice. Hips are on the ball joint. There's no skirt armor, so it'll go all the way forward, most of the way back till it bangs that backpack. And then a full Van Damme. No ankle pivot, but it does move forwards and backwards quite a ways. Wait. I lied. Oh my gosh, I lied so much. I lied 100%. There's all of the ankle pivots. That's almost 180 degrees of ankle pivot. More ankle pivot than you could possibly. That's more than 180 degrees. More ankle pivot than you could possibly need. I lied. Everybody leave a comment about how much I suck. I'll just, read them all aloud next week. That'll just be my video for the week. But yeah, great little figures. Let's get him transformed up. So transformation on this guy is simple, but it's also like a little weird. Like here, basically to get this transformed into its vehicle mode, you need to get this flipped around, and this tab kind of plugs into that slot back there, but there's no real way to do that because of all it hanging back there. So what you kind of got to do is you got to like go like this and move it around and get it to this point where you can put it back, and then flip it all the way around and it's kind of a rigmarole. I think that they probably could have engineered that a bit better, but you know, if it works, it works. I suppose. I think they could have engineered it a little bit better. But you know, I don't know. I guess really what it comes down to is especially for figures like this, like you're doing a lot with a little figure this size, you know, because it's got a robot mode, it's got an alt mode, it's got, you know, a combined mode. Flip the head in. We're going to straighten out the waist. These little slots right here, and those tabs are going to line up and go together like bread and butter, like peanut butter and jelly, like cheese and ham, like tabs and slots. And then we're going to fold this down. These tabs here are going to fold in those slots there. Make sure you pull. I may have done this prematurely. Make sure you pull that windshield up, because if you don't, then it's going to cause you some issues later on in life. So then for the back legs, literally we're going to take these, we're going to extend them out just a bit, like so. Turn these toes around. And then we're going to fold them all the way up. And then we're just going to bend the knee all the way in. There is no alignment here per se, and it shows in that even when you get everything lined up properly, it doesn't feel like it's lined up properly. If that makes any sense. It'll make sense in a little bit. So the idea here, let's get these legs fully tabbed together. There's like 3 tabs that keep them together. The idea here is that this goes around, this panel folds out of the foot, and then this side of it fits into that slot right there, and then this little slot here goes onto that tiny tab. And it's a little tricky to do at first. After you do it a couple times, it's a little easier to do. And that right there basically is it. And you see what I mean. Like, even though like I've got everything lined up properly, like I'm not sure how, you know, these legs don't go out any further. They don't go, I mean, I guess they can wiggle down a little bit, but I mean, that's a width issue there. These arms don't go in any further, and the legs don't go out any further. And so even when you have everything lined up the way it's supposed to be lined up, it doesn't feel like it's lined up the way it's supposed to be lined up. There's one other piece of kit. Yes, right here. We can throw this right on top here. So then he's got like a little cargo rack. And he can hold his weapons on top, you know, like he's going on vacation or something like that. Or not. Well, I know he can hold that one just fine. I suppose if I really wanted to, I could hold this one on the side like that. Then it sticks out in the back. Weird. But yeah, so there's that guy in his vehicle mode. To get this guy transformed up, get that out of the way. I'm going to pull these off. And then we're going to lift the chest all the way up. Make sure that the head gets tucked into it. You may want to angle the head forward a bit, just to make sure that it tucks in all the way. Oh, come on, don't make a liar of me. It's making a liar of me. You little bitch. Why's it gotta be such a hassle? Only when the camera's on. All right, so that's tucked in. The arms are going to bend forward like this, but then they're on this like double joint thingamajig. You can kind of see, maybe kind of see some of it back there. Basically, what's going to happen is let's do this one step at a time. So these tracks are going to move forward, okay? And you'll see there's a slot here on the front that's going to line up with this tab that was on the chest. So those are going to tab in like that. You'll notice that these little armatures on the inside, see how they're pulled out and then they go back in? You'll notice that those will go in. Furthermore, you're going to bend the elbows forward and then pull them back a bit. That will allow, geez, there's no way to see it. There's a tiny little slot in here. There's a little peg on his forearm that will peg into there. And then these armors are going to fold over the top. There's like the front half of him all done. Make sure you have the hands with the green part out like that. Otherwise it's going to look silly. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take these and we're going to rotate the waist like so. And then we're going to take these and pull them around on that double hinge accessory thing, the double hinge armature. Tab them together here. They're going to tab into the arms up there. We're going to take these treads and we're going to fold them down. They're going to go across the back of the hand and tab into the front like so. And then these are just going to come around, slide in, come around, and slide in. The turret, which didn't really need to be removed for transformation, keep that in mind. So you've got this here is on this erratic connection here, where the pegs of the connection aren't lined up with each other, like so. And so basically you can take it and you can, if you have it plugged in here, you can actually kind of turn it around on that erratic and sit that back just a bit. Now that being said, keep in mind that it's going to want to move more freely on that forward peg now than on the peg that plugs into the vehicle and the peg that plugs into the turret. So, but deal with it. You can deal with it. So for these, you can plug them into the sides, you can plug them into the back. There's all sorts of, there's holes on him. Holes up here. One's back here. I kind of like actually folding in this and why did I have them? I had them plugged in like this. That's how I usually have them, like that. So you fold in the little handle there, pull that up, and plug them into the side like that. That's how I like to do it. But there they are in their vehicle mode. And in vehicle mode, I mean, he's got rolling wheels. He actually rolls fairly decently. Good clearance on the bottom. He's got a cargo rack for holding all of his vacation essentials. You know, bazooka, energy blaster, etc., etc. This guy here, his tank rotates around. Little thing goes up. There's no wheels or anything on the bottom of this. You just kind of pretend that it moves around while you're like scraping your tabletop. The only other accessories they come with is these things. I don't even know what they're for. Yeah, I don't even know. They're just for something. Just weird. I don't know. But I can tell you that that they go like that. Yeah. But anyhow, so that's it for Armor Boar and Bazooka Hound, the War Giant attackers. Everybody, thanks for watching, and have a great day. Be good to each other. See you later.